Welcome to AzureCon session Empowering Enterprise Mobility. My name is Adam Bresson. I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager in Enterprise Mobility, and we're going to go over the enterprise mobility technologies today that run in the Microsoft Cloud. Let's start by taking a look at the map of Azure. We're going to be focusing today on Azure Active Directory and other technologies that run on Azure, such as Microsoft Intune and Azure Rights Management Services. We're going to start with an overview of Microsoft's Enterprise Mobility Solution. And what's different about the Enterprise Mobility Solution? One is access from many devices. And that's a great opportunity to look at an integrated common identity. Manage and secure productivity. It's a goal, but we protect Office better with Enterprise Mobility. Preserve existing investments. So that's often an approach that IT would take with any sort of service that provides management and security. And with ours, it just works. It's easy in a couple steps to get started, a couple express steps to get started with the Enterprise Mobility Suite services. And we support cross-platform, so iOS, Android, Windows, and thousands of applications. That's the goal, and we are comprehensive. So drilling down a little bit more, it's integrated. Identity is the control plane. We support one common identity from Active Directory, easily synchronized with Azure AD Connect to Azure Active Directory, and the ability to connect SaaS applications, Office 365, even custom applications. We offer single sign-on to over 2,400 applications, and those applications are supported from our catalog, and you can grow that with other technologies like Azure Active Directory Application Proxy or our Active Directory authentication libraries, which allow applications to tap directly into identity in Azure Active Directory. And then self-service for your users. And this is important. Traditionally, a directory such as AD might provide a common storage for objects, user objects, computer objects, device objects, and groups. We offer even more with users, groups, applications, and reporting, and identity and access management features, and I'll show you a few of those in a moment. It protects Office better. So here we're looking at mobile productivity, and these are first-party Office applications across mobile devices. We manage and secure that productivity by applying policies, supporting things like conditional access, supporting things like configuration and auto-configuration of these applications. And it's the Office mobile apps that have that familiar interface, the way of working that lets users be more productive. And data level protection as well. So support for information protection with Azure Rights Management Services. And this is all integrated in to make the end user more productive. And it just works. So here we're looking at flexible architecture. And that flexible architecture really, really matters. It works with what you have today. So it works with Active Directory, common technologies that you support and use on a daily basis. It's always up to date because it's a cloud service updated on a cloud cadence. And it's simple to set up and to connect. Through a few configurations, you can extend your identity with identity as a control plane to the cloud. You can manage and secure devices. You can deploy and secure applications. And you can deploy Azure Rights Management Services to protect your data quickly with strong encryption and policy. And it's comprehensive, cross-platform. Like Microsoft Azure, we support iOS, Android, Windows. We support cross-platform applications. We support cross-platform devices as well. And it's thousands of software as a service applications. So today we offer 2,400 from the catalog. Those 2,400 are easily expanded to the 11,000 plus applications we support today with Azure Active Directory. And those include all types, custom integrated through the API and SDK, Azure Active Directory Application Proxy, on-premise applications, and catalog applications. And these are line of business applications, even supporting remote app with enterprise mobility. And you can see an example here of a few of those applications. So let's move a little bit more into the technology we support. I wanted to start off today in our AzureCon session with getting started, how easy it is to use the power of Microsoft Azure to get up and running quickly with the Enterprise Mobility Suite solutions. It's a couple steps. I mentioned before, one identity, easy to set up. Manage the life cycle of data, devices, and apps, and protect through sharing and document tracking easily with Azure Rights Management Services. These integrated enterprise mobility services are easy to set up using the power of Microsoft Azure. So it's easy to get started with the Enterprise Mobility Suite services. We log into the Azure portal and we scroll down quickly to Active Directory. And I can see here my Active Directory tenants. I can easily create a new tenant within Active Directory. We're going to go ahead and look at enabling services within Contoso Cloud, my Azure Active Directory tenant. So if you're an Active Directory user, you're probably familiar with users and groups today. What's great is we extend that out to applications, reporting, and even advanced configuration with Azure AD. So you can see users combine here from Azure Active Directory users to local account users to users that are part of their Microsoft accounts as well. And all of them exist today in your Azure Active Directory tenant. We can synchronize groups using, as I mentioned before, Azure AD Connect. So users and groups synchronize to Azure AD. And those groups can be created within Azure AD, or they can be on-premise and synchronized. The groups help me assign usage to applications. And we'll take a look at applications next, a new concept in Azure AD. Here I can quickly publish applications that I want my users to use on a daily basis. So first step is to synchronize users from Active Directory to Azure AD using Azure AD Connect. The next step is to take those users and groups and begin publishing applications. And we'll go into that a little bit more in depth in a few moments. You can see I have a wide range of applications here, proxy-based, published from the catalog, and SDK-based. And we'll go into that in a little more detail in a few moments. So now that I've set up my Azure AD tenant and I've synchronized my users and groups from on-premise, I want to take the next step. And I want to move into Intune and begin to manage my devices and applications easily. So we'll switch over to Microsoft Intune. You can see my dashboard right as I log in. And I'll go in here and I'll take a look at groups. And those groups match the groups that were synchronized in Azure AD. So I brought them over into Microsoft Intune. And I can immediately do things with those groups, like add devices for the group. I can add social apps and users for the groups as well. And I can use devices, remember, iOS, Android, Windows devices, cross-platform, and manage them. Once my Microsoft Intune tenant is set up, I can also go in and start to add quickly policies. One simple, quick policy to add is the baseline security policy. So I can go into Add, create a new policy. I can look across platforms, Android, iOS, and Windows, and I could quickly add under Common Mobile Device Settings a mobile device security policy for all three platforms. This policy will have in it some simple configuration options, such as the ability to block access to applications that you don't want, or PIN access, or setting something into kiosk mode. And that can be done quickly and easily with the recommended settings here. You can see I can quickly create a policy. I'll assign users, say Enterprise Social Apps, which is one of the groups from Azure AD. Now I have my baseline policy here, and I can go in and I can edit that policy quickly and see what some of the settings are. And that's it. In a few steps, I've added users and groups to Azure Active Directory. I've imported those groups into Microsoft Intune from Azure AD, used that common identity, that identity as the control plane. And I've assigned a quick policy that lets me enforce things like password, encryption, and malware as well across platforms. Lastly, I want to get started with Azure Rights Management Services. Azure Rights Management Services, going back to the Microsoft Azure portal, are on a per tenant basis, and I can click into Azure Active Directory and go into Rights Management, and I can make active or inactive per tenant. You can see an example here, Rights Management Services. So all I do is take the tenant like Contoso Cloud, activate that tenant, and I can quickly go in and create templates that will automatically be discovered by rights management aware applications. My templates can have sophisticated settings in them. You can see an example here, read only. I can edit the template. I can configure individual rights for the template. You'll notice here that I could customize the template even further, including the scope of the template as well. So that's it. In a couple steps, we're able to activate an Azure AD tenant, add users and groups via Azure AD Connect, quickly add a baseline security policy for mobile device management, and take a look at as adding Azure Rights Management Services and auto-discovering the templates as well. Let's go ahead and go back and take a quick look at the overall scenario, and then we'll take a look at application publishing using the power of Microsoft Azure. So the Enterprise Mobility Suite offers multiple layers of data protection. So here's the same paradigm: user, devices, apps, data, extended out to a personal device. That personal device might have corporate applications, it might have corporate data, it might have personal applications, and it might have personal data. So first we start with Microsoft Azure Active Directory Premium. And this lets us use that identity as a common control plane to identify and authorize the user. Then we used Microsoft Intune to apply device policies and, as we'll see in a few moments, apply application policies. Next, we used Microsoft Azure Rights Management in order to apply content policies. Those are the templates you saw before. So we can protect devices, apps, data based on identity across these devices. And it's that connection in the Enterprise Mobility Suite between Microsoft Azure Active Directory Premium, Microsoft Intune, and Microsoft Rights Management that allows us to connect those together. So as we take a look at deploying applications, we're going to start with a new feature in portal.azure.com, which is Cloud App Discovery. So you're taking a look at our upcoming version of the Microsoft Azure portal, and we're going to go ahead and click Home and take a look at the services that we can use with Contoso Bill. One of the services is Azure AD Cloud App Discovery. So we'll kind of focus in on Azure AD Cloud App Discovery and take a look at it. When you want to deploy applications, it's really important to have a sense of what applications you need to publish with Azure AD. So we provide a tool called Cloud App Discovery that allows you to install agents on a sample of your workstations or laptops or mobile devices. With Cloud App Discovery, you can install an agent on a sampling of your computers that your users are using every day and get a sense of the applications they're using on the web so that you can publish the right applications with the best security that we offer with Azure AD. So you can publish your applications with good security with Azure AD. This tool allows you to take a look at the applications your users are using every day on the web. What's really exciting is once you have the agents deployed, you can watch the data, and the data comes in based on the application's location in the catalog of Azure AD apps. What's really exciting about Cloud App Discovery is that often users think they're using a handful of applications. They'll say they're using maybe just social media applications. But we see almost 10 times as many applications in use. And Cloud App Discovery allows you to find these applications your users are using every day. So here's a sampling of total apps, managed and unmanaged apps focus in on the numbers: 114 total apps, 28 managed apps, and 86 unmanaged applications. We also have insight into the number of users and agents deployed, so you can see what that sampling is based on. Taking a look at applications, I can see a wide variety of applications that are in use here. LinkedIn, Marketo, Gartner Research, Office 365, Lighthouse, Discuss, and other applications. And I can see specifically for an application such as LinkedIn, I could see what the use is of that, the number of users, and I can know that it's important to publish that social application with password security and SSO. Once I have that application identified, I can click the link that says Manage LinkedIn with Azure AD. And we'll skip over right now into the existing Microsoft Azure portal to take a look at how to publish applications quickly and easily. So I'll click Contoso Cloud, and I'll go into the applications added from the ideas of Active Directory. You can see a list of applications that are currently published in SSO. And there are 3 ways to publish applications. There is the SDK with the Active Directory authentication libraries. There is the catalog, including custom applications, forms-based HTML, and Azure Active Directory application proxy. So you can see a wide variety of applications published here. I can see proxy applications and web applications. I can also search here for something like LinkedIn. Now I see LinkedIn Corporate. Really interesting. I can publish multiple instances of the same application in order to provide different experiences. So think LinkedIn Corporate might be handled by my social media department, and it represents the corporate LinkedIn. But I can also publish different instances, say by department or by brand, for an organization. So if I click Add, I can add an application the organization is developing, which is an SDK-based application. I can add an application from the gallery as well. Or I can publish an application with Azure AD Application Proxy. Let's take a look at an application from the gallery. You can see that the categories on the left side match the categories in Cloud App Discovery. And I have a wide variety of applications I can publish. Here's the most common in use. We'll scan through and take a look at some of the ones offered. For example, let's see if Workday is available. Yes, Workday is available, and I can easily publish that, assign users, and show those applications. And we'll go ahead in a few moments and take a look at what the end user experience is as well. I also have the option to use custom applications. And these custom applications are any HTML form-based username and password application that I can add to my apps in Azure AD. And you'll see an example of a couple custom applications in a few moments. Finally, I can also add an Azure AD application proxy app. That app is an on-premise application that can be published with a custom deployed connector from Azure AD that offers SSL, mobile support, and even multi-factor authentication as an option for your applications on-premise. So now that I've published my applications as a whole, let's take a look at a way to secure and to manage applications using the included service of Microsoft Intune. So I can click Apps in Microsoft Intune. I get an overview of applications. I can see software that's detected across mobile platforms, and I can add or remove applications and packages. And you can see a wide sampling here. Deploying VLC as a Windows app package, deploying an iOS app here, deploying Android apps as well. They can quickly be deployed to the mobile OS, just the applications the company approves, with the company portal and Microsoft Intune. And I can quickly add an agreement, or I can manage the deployment of my applications and look at the status. And I can require applications. So I know that on every corporate managed iOS device is a secure media viewer or a secure browser, also provided by Microsoft Intune. The last piece of the puzzle is to take a look at the end user experience. We've discovered applications, we've published applications, we've managed and secured applications on mobile devices using Cloud App Discovery, Azure Active Directory Premium, and Microsoft Intune. Now let's take a look at how an end user can use those applications. So we're going to go ahead and sign in with cross-browser and Mozilla Firefox. When I sign in, I see the My Apps portal for Aphrodite. You can see some applications are published here. Box, Dropbox for Business, OneDrive, even an Azure AD application proxy application with my one on-premise app here. So taking a look at Office 365, taking a look at SharePoint Online, I can use any of these applications simply by clicking on the tile. Let's take a look at Office 365 and Exchange Online. Now that you've seen the applications listed in My Apps, here's a really nice integration. With Office 365, if I click the waffle, I actually see at the bottom My Apps right there with the Office 365 apps. When I click My Apps, I can see those same published applications that were in the My Apps portal directly in Office 365. You can see them in the bottom, Workday, my on-premise application, Box, and others as well. So that reflects a similar view that I see in My Apps. I can also manage my groups right from My Apps. So these are the identity and access management features. I can manage my profile, and I can even handle approvals if I have approvals for a group that I own. In Profile, I have the ability to set up additional verification with multi-factor authentication, reset my password, change the password, handle even password reset with a series of challenge questions. So those traditional identity and access management features are integrated across the Enterprise Mobility Suite. The Enterprise Mobility Suite, powered by Microsoft Azure, includes all of the easy express settings you need to get up and running with powerful management and security for enterprise mobility. The first is in the area of identity and access management. So we've discussed Azure Active Directory Premium. This includes things like security reports and auditing reports, multi-factor authentication, upcoming additional security solutions, self-service password reset and group management. Those traditional identity and access management features, cloud-enabled and available across mobile OSs. And that connection between Active Directory and Azure Active Directory as well. Then we took a look at mobile device and app management, both getting started and managing and securing applications with Microsoft Intune. So here we were looking at mobile device settings, mobile application management, and PC management as well. And then finally, we took a look at information protection. So Microsoft Azure Rights Management, which offers that encryption and policy for data and connection to on-premise assets. And finally, bring your own key and other advanced security scenarios. So the Enterprise Mobility Suite offers a great value, and it runs in Microsoft's professional cloud with Microsoft Azure. There are also some on-premise elements which can optionally be used, and this brings the entire view of on-premise, hybrid, and cloud to enterprise mobility. We recently launched Microsoft Identity Manager 2016 for cloud-ready identities, powerful user self-service, and enhanced security. And we can use that to get those identities ready for Azure Active Directory. We recently introduced Microsoft Advanced Threat Analytics, which is included with the Enterprise Mobility Suite. It detects threats quickly, identity-based activities within your network. It uses sophisticated techniques like behavioral analysis and learning and adaptive techniques to discover potential identity threats. Identity security is very important to the overall health of your network. And since identity is the control plane with the Enterprise Mobility Suite, we want to offer an additional layer of identity security. It's presented in a quick, easy, social-like feed of potential identity incidents within your network. And all of this combines together to offer a great value with the Enterprise Mobility Suite, powered by Microsoft Cloud, powered by Microsoft Azure. Thank you for your time today and an opportunity to take a look at Microsoft's Enterprise Mobility Solutions. It's a great time to be working in the areas of identity and access management, mobile device, and app management, as well as information protection. Thank you, and we look forward to future innovations in enterprise mobility.